Yeah, I think sometimes in marketing, maybe particularly more at the creative end of the marketing spectrum, that feels dirty to folks,
Yeah.
right? We're kind of about the message and the truth of the message and some of the things that we're talking about in terms of the being true and authentic. But and you said it earlier, no customers, no job here,
Yeah.
right? This is a machine that delivers value to other people and they give us money for it. And that's what we do here together, right? And my view is two things. First of all, should marketing should know more about that dynamic than anybody, right? They're talking to the prospects every day. They're
Yeah.
talking to the customers that get closed and that we, share their stories. They're talking to the analysts. They're talking to the product team. They're talking to the reps about what's going on. Like that is the sport you're in,
Yep.
right? Whatever your position is that you're kind of concentrating on and working on your reps and how to, get better at it. That's the sport you're in. And I'm a big believer that, the top tier marketing objectives need to have a currency sign in front of them
Yeah.
to kind of help align that. And so anyway, my point, I guess, being sometimes as marketeers, we feel a little bit like, oh, that's gauche, to like these, these coin operated sales reps and this board that doesn't, all they worry about is these few numbers. They're not seeing the whole picture.
Right.
That's the centering. I mean, that is the rail that everything slides along.
It's true.
And you'll only improve, I think, your outcomes, probably your satisfaction in your job, and certainly your career potential,
Yes.
right? By understanding that earlier rather than later.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of you said it too. Your satisfaction, any frustration that you might have about like why you're not getting budget or why are you so fixated on these numbers when you have the actual answers of like because it's a really important number for this business for these reasons, then you can actually even better, for lack of a better word, better argue or plead your case or make a strong
Yeah.
argument for budget that you need because it's like, look, I understand that we're trying to do X, Y, and Z, and that this is what this is the boulder that we're trying to move, and I understand that from a marketing perspective, you're looking at one, two, and three, but actually based on what I've just learned, I think that if we do this other thing differently and think brave about it, we might see the outcome that you're actually telling me you're going after. And getting down to that root system when as a marketer starts a whole different conversation because if you're getting frustrated that you can't tell the stories you want to tell, you can't work on the messaging that you want to work on, you can't create the events or the shows that are going to make an impact because your leadership is so focused on these KPIs, get down to the root system and understand why they're fixated on those KPIs, what they're actually afraid of or what they're actually trying to achieve, and change the story so that they can see what you see. And that's what I was talking about with like speak, control the things you can, speak the language, the same language. You got to get down to the root system. You can't just, focus way up here and just argue about like, yeah, but we need to do this instead, and expect different results. You've got to get
Yeah.
way down to the basics.
And they're your internal customers. It's just like we steal ourselves and study all the time. Be outside in.
Yeah.
Put yourself in the mind of the prospect. Put yourself in the perspective of the problem, not our solution, but the problem that we then can help you solve. These are the challenges that leadership has. This is the landscape you're in. Be outside in there too.
Right.
Consider it the same way, right? It's not. I don't know. Again, it feels like it can feel like a trade-off, but it really is. It's additive, if not multiplicative, right?
100%.
It's just I think it can be a mind flip sometimes. So,
Absolutely.
but I think that the frameworks that you work in and the way that you're sharing this gives folks maybe you're finding themselves in that kind of struggle. Think about it this way,
Yeah.
right? Think about it this way to move forward.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's all right. I want to make sure I want to with the time that we have here. I also want to get your take on so much of what you do is about the voice, about the authenticity. We're in this time of great change. The biggest of all, and you mentioned it, is the impact of AI.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you be human centered? How do you be authentic? How do you leverage AI to do that rather than the opposite?
Yeah. Listen, I mean, is a gift. You know, it's just like the internet is a gift, and cell phones are a gift, and phones in general, and cars, all these other major, massive, life-changing innovations are good, right? But they're change. They're massive change. And when we think about it in the lens of fear, which there's no shortage of, everyone's telling us about all of our jobs are going to go away, and everything is terrible, then it's scary. But if we look at it as how can this, from curiosity, and say, how can this technological advancement, this time that we're alive, how can it actually help me be more of who I want to be and who I can be? And for me, you asked like, how am I using it and how am I like approaching it? I love that AI is helping me to be even more intentional about the things that I care most about, which is human centric brands and you said the authenticity of our voices. So what I do is I actually have transcripts of just about everything and notes of just about everything, just like everybody else does. And I feed a lot of it into, my custom GPT, and then I ask it questions to make sure I don't forget things and that I don't get so wrapped up in a conversation that I overlook, a really great opportunity to connect on a deeper level or to follow up or to ask better questions next time. I have it remind me of things that I've said that I'm just too close to, that I can go back and write my own content about, or that I can go and have more conversations about. It helps me focus less on the minutia and the notes and the tactical things so that I can be more of the forward thinker, creative person that I want to be. And I think when we approach it that way, and instead of saying, how can ChatGPT help me write more blogs and just add to the noise that everybody else is, creating in a flurry all around us, and say, how can I help it? How can it help me break through the noise? How can it help me and my voice break through the noise? And that's when things get really powerful. How can it help me be a better leader? How can it help me be a better creator? How can it help me be, much more intentional and aligned with who I say that I am? And I think that we're starting to see that. I think that a lot of people are using it more and more in that way and less to, just do more for the sake of more. And that's what I'm really excited about and hopeful for.